like where does it start for you? Like, you know, what is cars when you're a kid? You born and raised kind of in London area? Like, what's it back to the start?
For me, I'm quite a late bloomer in terms of cars. When I was little, I've lived in London all my life. So actually, I didn't start driving until I was 22, which is quite uncommon for people that are into cars, I would say. But that was mainly because I lived in London most of the time, and then I went to uni in Bristol, and I didn't really need a car. Like a couple of my friends had a car, and you just walk everywhere and whatever. But I'd sort of been interested in like a really far away at cars, like, oh, that's a Ferrari, that's a Lamborghini. My dad had a Porsche when I was younger. He had a 993 Targa, which at the time I was just like, oh, this is a cool Porsche, because I was like 6. But that sort of, I've always been interested slightly. Studied engineering at university, so sort of got a bit of a mindset into like how do things work and stuff like that. And then one of my good friends from school, who you've probably heard of, a guy called Tim Burton, who is Shmee150, for those people out there that have got Google, who is now one of the biggest names in the car YouTube world and sort of social media. And Tim and I we were friends at school, and we used to do a lot of skiing together. We were actually both ski instructors, and we taught ski instructing, not taught ski instructing. We used to ski instruct in New Zealand during our summers whilst we were at uni. And Tim started filming stuff with his little point and shoot camera around at home when sort of in London, and these supercars that he was seeing. And he'd be like, Sam, why don't you come to this event I'm going to? He started to sort of get into the car world, and I'd go along to these events. At that point in time, I was interested in photography. I'd taken pictures of skiing, and I'd always sort of like messed around with cameras. Never really had any sort of formal education, I would say, but very much one of those people that tries to analyze whatever it is and break it down and work out how to do it. So I'd go and find the people that I thought were really good at the time and try and break down technically what they were doing, and then try and replicate that. And that's something I've always sort of done up until now, just basically stealing everyone's ideas and then putting them together. But yeah, I started going to these events with Tim, taking pictures of cars, and then we sort of basically just carried on doing that on the side of other stuff. And then that's how I ended up, but that's pretty much how I ended up taking pictures of cars, going to more events. GUMBALL was one of the first proper sort of companies I started working with. Another like crazy coincidence, someone I went to school with. Sounds like school was a place to meet everyone, but like randomly was the social media intern. I've completely forgotten her name. I'm really sorry. She won't be listening to this anyway. But they'd had a bunch of photographers on the GUMBALL that were generally sort of older, and by her definition, pretty boring people. And she said, Sam, like, I like you. Why didn't you take pictures of cars? Why didn't you come on the GUMBALL? And this was very early into me taking pictures of cars. And it was like a baptism of fire on event photography, these sort of road trip concepts, taking pictures of cars, hanging out of windows, all of these sorts of things. Very whirlwind, very tiring, but like just learned so much. The people, I think that's one of the times in my life where I've learned the most in terms of photography, because something like the GUMBALL, it attracts all of these media types from around the world, whether it's photographers, video people, and the people I've met throughout that have been contracted in, not as entrants, but to work for entrants or work for different organizations or the major sponsors. They want to get some cool photos. All of these people that I've met over the years, and you hang out with them for a week, and you basically get reminded every 5 seconds how they are significantly better than you at taking pictures and all this sort of stuff. And you can't, I think most people, they sit at home and then they see someone's picture and they go, oh my God, that's just amazing. I could never do that or whatever. But you're in the situation where you're standing next to the person taking the photo. Mm-hmm. So you take a photo, they take a photo, you were standing near them in the same sort of time, same sort of place, exactly the same opportunity. And you see their photos and you're like, I'm just going to go home now. Like, but it gave a real like tangible situation where you know their output and your output, and you could talk to them about it. And they had some guys that gave me like tons of help over the years and just sort of point me in the right direction. And you just see these people who were just masters at their craft working and be there at the same time and just try and absorb as much without falling asleep or crashing.